In this video we're going to look at modifying chart types, or more importantly, just looking at different chart types and their most appropriate use. Here we have a clustered column chart. We've already looked at the clustered column chart and the stacked column chart. These are very popular chart styles. They easily convey quite a lot of data all on one page and will generally allow you to observe trends in data. Let's have a look at some different options. To change these chart options, I can go to my Design tab within Chart Tools and then go to Change Chart Type. From here I have many other popular options such as line, pie, bar, area and many others. From here what I would like to do is examine some of these different chart types and demonstrate how they are most appropriately used. Column charts are generally good for any kind of generic data where you want to see a graphical representation over different categories and also potentially over time. Let's have a look at a line chart. Line charts are particularly good in expressing trends over time. A line chart is simply a continuous line that typically will run over different months, years or days. The fact that it is a continuous line allows us to see variations quite clearly and easily. I can also have multiple lines on the same graph, but you want to try and avoid having more than, say, 3 or 4 lines on the same chart, else it becomes very confusing and hard to follow one individual line. Another popular chart type is pie charts. Pie charts are particularly good at expressing data as a percentage of a whole, or showing the proportion that one type of data represents in amongst the whole. For example, looking at my chart here, I can very easily see that Kibble is producing the most sales, and I can see also that Howard is producing the least. However, pie charts are quite straightforward and simple, and are not suitable for showing trends over time or any kind of complex data with more than one category at the time. For example, it's worth noting that at the moment, as I click on my chart, I can see my source data. It is simply taking sales rep and total sales value. I'm not able to look at the different axes simultaneously. I simply have a category and a total for that category. Another very useful type of chart is the bar chart. Bar charts are similar in presentation to column charts, but they simply stretch across the page rather than from top to bottom. Bar charts are particularly useful where we have category titles that are extremely long. For example, in this situation, I have a very verbose, a very long category description for each one of my data points. This is common, for example, in market research, where we may have very long or complicated questions that have been asked at each respondent. Having our chart laid out in this manner allows us to easily read each row header, while still being able to see the length of the bar that represents the data itself. There are many other charts available in Excel, but within the scope of this video, I want to show you one more important option, and that is the combo chart. Since Excel 2013, combo charts have been made much easier to produce. So what do we mean by a combo chart? Well, let's select our data and start off with a simple chart, perhaps a column chart. As you can see, both columns of my data, the total sales and the margin on those sales, is expressed on the chart. However, the margin variable is not expressed in a particularly meaningful way. I can just about see that there is a margin, but I can't quantify it. I can't understand it or comment about it. This is because a category that is very, very small in value, such as a percentage, is not easily measured against a number such as total sales. What I would like to do is to be able to look at these individual variables independently, but on the same chart. To do that, I can go to my Change Chart Type and navigate all the way down to my combo chart. From this point, Excel will automatically give me some options. It is decided that total sales is best expressed as a clustered column, and margin could be best expressed as a line. This is perhaps progress, but the problem is my margin values are still very, very low, and are still not visible against the clustered column. So what I need to do is to look at each of these variables independently, and to be able to look at them independently, they have to be on their own separate axis. For example, right now I'm measuring all of my variables in terms of dollars. But it makes no sense to measure margin in terms of dollars, because margin is a percentage, so I need to give the margin its own axis. That's where I can apply the secondary axis tick boxes. I'll leave total sales as the primary axis, and I'll apply margin to the secondary axis. Hey presto, we now have the ability to interpret and comment on both variables simultaneously, and by having them on the same chart, we can understand the relationship between these two variables. I'm going to go ahead and observe my changes by clicking OK. The combo chart is particularly powerful because of this ability to be able to express two different categories of data with different units of measurement on the same chart in a way that is meaningful and appropriate.